Okay, we are live. This is the Greg Who Show. I'm Greg. We'll begin with my usual intro, but tonight I have to say, I'm feeling funky. I'm feeling funky.
Manage Paul, or
not only do I manage, remember that one of those 3 record labels that I mentioned, Lyrics Records?
Okay.
Paul is on Lyrics Records. He was the first release on Lyrics Records.
Excellent. And he's got a CD out now. I believe it's called self-titled.
Yeah, let's get it the right way up. Lyrics Records first release, Paul Rivard. Excellent CD. Excellent CD.
Okay, so we're going to bring out Paul Rivard right now, and he's going to do a song for us. Is that correct? Please give a warm welcome to Paul Rivard.
This song's called He Is Real. You say it doesn't matter in the words that you speak. You say it's what's in your heart and what you believe. Your eyes are the windows to your very own soul. Look and find a peace inside, or if your blood has run cold, I'll tell you that it's time, it's time to pick up those pieces, get down on your knees. I'll tell you that it's time, it's time to shine like a candle, so all of mankind can see that He is real. Yes, He is real. Yes, He is real. The world tries to tell you where you should go, and what you should wear, and who you should know. Your friends seem to guide you down the loneliest roads. But Jesus is the only true friend that you'll ever know. I'll tell you that it's time to pick up those pieces, get down on your knees. I tell you that it's time to shine like a candle, so all of mankind can see that He's real. Lord, you are real. Lord, you are real. Lord, He is real to me.
Commercials.
Okay, so that was Paul Rivard. Ladies and gentlemen, wow. Welcome to the Greg Who Show. I'm Greg. Listen, had a busy month on these lives. I'm glad you guys all participated, but tonight I have to kind of speed things along, so I'm going to cut to the chase, and I can think of no better way. Holy cow, the comment section is going crazy. I can think of no better way to start this show than than to bring you over to Mr. Corey Feldman's Twitter. Some of you may know, but you know, I'm not even going to say anything. I'm just going to bring you over there, and we'll let the man speak for himself. We'll let him shame himself. Okay, here we go. Mr. Corey Feldman, would you like to say something about GregHarrison? Is there something on your mind? Is there something you'd like to say about Mr. GregHarrison of the Greg Who Show? Come on, Feldman.
Because I've got a lot to talk about, and I don't want to spend all night talking about it. I'm really heartbroken right now, guys. And I know that you can feel me. I know that you guys know what I'm about to say is not going to be fun. But I've got to say it anyway. So yeah, you guys know I've been under constant attack from the same people, the Wolf Pack, for years. I've revealed in the film My Truth, the documentary, for those of you who took the time to actually watch it, that there's been a cult group of people who've been trying to silence me ever since this all began. They call themselves the Wolf Pack. But that's just the front of it, the face of it. That's just what they call themselves. It's a catchphrase. It's a bunch of trolls, internet trolls and fans, former fans of the two Coreys, who were seduced by Judy and her followers and her gay friend GregHarrison, who has, I don't know, I guess he's probably a closet gay, but then I feel like there may be a relationship going on there at the same time. Who knows? Anyway, it doesn't really matter. Point being, these people have been terrorizing me, and all they do is talk about me 24/7. And I'm tired of being talked about. I'm tired of being scrutinized. I'm tired of the lies. I'm tired of the scandals. I'm tired of all of it. Tired of all of it. And I can't take it anymore. I really can't. These people are the same people. Don't you realize they've been doing this for 3 years? Same lies, same people. It's their little club. And the worst part of it is, you know, we had all of this evidence that was going to be in the film.
Okay, all right. All right, shut up, Feldman. We've had enough of you. All right, so you heard it. He's gay shaming me. Oh, what is the LGBT community going to think of that? So, Corey Feldman, Mr. Enlightened, Mr. Turmeric on his fingertip, opening up his third, shoving his index finger up his sphincter. Mr. Enlightened here wants to say that I am gay, or if I was a gay in the closet, he wants to shame me for being in the closet. Well, you got a lot of explaining to do to the gay community, and you know, I'm actually happy you said it, because it just, you keep proving our points left, right, and center. So are you homophobic? You know, and I just don't know what to say. So we're going to open it up, open up the panel here, and see what you guys think. I love it. All right. So let me say some hellos to people as I get out the thing. So yeah, basically, if no one saw that, he basically finally comes to the conclusion. He goes, I do not feel that I'm the right guy for this job. Really? We've been telling you that for 7 years. Judy and I have been saying that for 7 years. You don't represent Corey Haim. You don't represent Judy Haim. You don't represent the Haim family. You don't represent the Me Too movement. You don't represent children. You can't. You're the wrong person. You have way too many skeletons in your closet. I've been telling you this for how long, and you're finally realizing it after you've left so much carnage and damage, and you've abused so many people, and you've got no, oh, you're tired of it? You're the one that started this all. Oh, someone's silencing your voice? Give me a break. You wrote a book. You did a movie. I don't know a more privileged person on this planet, and then a documentary that has a bigger voice, and yet you're still complaining that people are trying to silence you? No. All right. I'm going to open up the panel, guys. I want to hear exactly. Okay, everyone's here. Yeah, Jenna, Mr. Osmosis, Patty, Shannon, Werewolves for Truth. Go sub to his channel. Jenna, hey guys. Carrie, Mr. Mendel, someone new, Lord Dreadful, Margaret Mary Zappacosta, Dishwater Blonde is here. Okay, the makings of a good conversation. If people want to jump on, let me see if I can get, where's the invite link? And let's see who's going to jump on here. This is the Greg Who Show. I'm Greg, and I have a feeling this is going to be one funky show. I'm feeling funky. Deep down in my soul, I'm feeling funky. Can you tell me where to go? Here you go. There it is. Come one, come all. You know, I've been saying for a while now, we need to have a conversation. There needs to be some adults that'll come to the table and have a civilized conversation. We need to have a serious discussion about all of this. Corey Feldman, I do not feel that I'm the right guy for this job. Really? Yeah, he is definitely not the right guy for the job. All right, we got a panel now. Okay, so we'll start with, I'm going to be a little risque. I'm going to put on Jenna and Dishwater Blonde, and I'm going to be a little risque and Mr. Mendel. I'm going to give this young man a chance. All right, here we are. Please welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Jenna and the Wolves.
Hi guys, long time no talk.
How's it going? I just added Dishwater Blonde. Do you know Dishwater Blonde?
We've spoken
Jenna?
on
Oh, have you ever talked?
chat. We've spoken on chat,
Yes.
but I don't think ever on with voice. So hi, Dishwater.
Hi, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. Happy Sunday, everybody.
Happy Father's Day, Greg, and to all fathers out there, everybody. You know. But yeah, we don't. Yeah,
Yeah.
but let's get down to the nitty gritty, right?
Yeah. No, well, sometimes Father's Day can be awkward, right? If I'm to be
Right.
candid,
Yeah.
right? So, and I'm sure I'm not the only one in that boat. So happy Father's Day to everyone.
Everybody,
And,
yeah.
God bless your situations, whatever it may be with your daddy.
Absolutely.
But even some mamas
and
can be fathers too.
Yes, and all to the
That's
single mothers out there and the single dads, everybody, yeah, we got you.
yeah. Before I bring on Mr. Mendel, who's in the backstage here, what do you think? I just want to get your comments, both Jenna and Dishwater Blonde, on what do you think about what Feldman said about me and the Wolfpack and his stance that he's taking now? Of course, that the whole SAG situation has gone down.
Pathetic.
I concur. No, you know what? It's just another huge cry for help from a man who is a child within. Like, honestly, like, if you want to make any kind of compelling argument for anybody, if you're going to be a voice for somebody, and you're supposedly a voice for children and this and that, what if a child is gay?
Yeah.
What if a child is gay and you say you're for the children, and that child is probably like, worried about letting their parents know, their family, anybody,
Right.
and you're gonna go and make it public about, oh, I'm gonna bash on, oh, maybe he had a secret love affair with Greg, Haim's actual best friend. How dare you, for one?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And two, like, what is that saying to all these children that you're trying to make a statement for? You don't know their sexual orientation. Excuse me, fraud fucking face. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Yeah, no, I agree. Like, oh, what if your son was gay?
Right.
Well, nothing. I'd love him just the same. What does that have to do with anything? Like, these people that talk about this, they're stuck in the 80s where I don't think it was acceptable to say back then, because it was very hurtful to many people and you didn't want to be on the receiving end of it. Nowadays, it's not something that should even be said. And this isn't the first time I've been I remember going into a chat room once and they're like, oh, look who it is. It's GregHarrison. I'm like, wow. Like, okay. Yeah. Thanks for welcoming me into your home, this is unacceptable, and just for the record, so that people know, not that it matters, but I am happily married, and those that know me, my beautiful wife Danielle, she's awesome. So I mean, for him to say that, it's like, what, you didn't even know that I was married? Like, you know nothing about me, Feldman. So.
It's not about the facts. It's about finding a way to slam Corey Haim. I'm getting an echo.
Yeah, I hear an echo too. I muted my YouTube where I'm on the main chat.
I closed my YouTube.
Oh, it's you.
My YouTube is muted as well.
Huh.
And I've got earphones on.
Am I still echoing?
I hear everyone just fine.
I think it's okay now.
Yeah, it seems to be better now, yeah.
Okay.
So do you guys mind, gonna bring on Mr. Mendel here. Do you guys mind if we bring on someone new?
It's your show.
Hey, it's your game, man. Yeah.
We're all game?
Yeah.
All right, let's see what Mr. Mendel thinks of Mr. Corey Feldman here. Hello, sir. This is Greg of The Greg Who Show. How are you tonight?
His mic is muted.
Oh, your mic is muted, sir.
There he goes.
I'm doing excellent. How are you doing today?
Very, very good. So what's your take on this situation with Mr. Corey Feldman?
Okay, well, actually, I have known Corey Feldman, and I've known Corey Haim also.
Really?
Wow.
Yep.
Do tell, do tell.
Please.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna definitely tell. By the way, this is sad. I've got an old iPhone which doesn't give me a video, so unfortunately I can't put my face on there. But I'm happy to chat. Anyways,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, I'm listening to everything that Feldman's saying right now, and it really does upset me because the Hames are wonderful people. They're really nice people. They don't deserve this. Judy doesn't deserve this. Certainly, the legacy of Corey Haim doesn't deserve this, and neither does anybody else. I mean, it's absolute garbage. This, Feldman needs help. He really needs an intervention. I mean, I would love to walk up to him and say, talk about a few of the things he's talked about recently. I mean, he claims that Scott Schwartz is a bad person because he did a porn film decades ago, bitched and complained like, crazy all about that. Hey, you know what, Corey? I thought it was so awesome that your best bud, porn star Ron Jeremy, attended the premiere of your little movie,
Right.
Excuse me. The pot calling the kettle black, excuse me. Corey states that victims should be seen and heard and listened to. But you know what? He admonished the ladies who were calling him out. He even admonished the alleged victims of his deceased friend, Michael Jackson. So Corey's caveat is that no alleged potential victim is allowed to make an allegation against him or a friend. Okay, I just added that amendment to the Corey Constitution. Let's add another amendment. No person ever charged with child pornography and who pled down to a lesser charge will be allowed in Corey's life. Oops. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I just realized that Corey is still friends with Pee Wee Herman and even following him on social media.
Oh, Paul Rubens, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
And Corey doesn't follow too many people. So amendment struck. Sorry about that, buddy, Corey. I won't make that mistake again.
I love this guy.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I love you too.
Yeah.
Let's speak about somebody else. Dominic Braja. Hey, called out by multiple people publicly years before Feldman named him.
Yeah.
Yet Feldman lived with him well into the 90s, maybe the 2000s also, and even admitted on the Megyn Kelly show that he was still friends with the guy who went to the Inquirer. Well, you know what? That's 2017, and we all know that the Inquirer guy was Dominic Braja. So that's proof, that's evidence that Feldman was still friends with Corey Haim's actual abuser all the way through 2017. If Haim was alive today, I don't think he'd be too happy about that.
No, I agree.
And you know what?
And my public statement was about Brasha was in 2016, just to remind people about that.
Yeah, and you're gay. Okay. Just kidding.
Shit, I'm fucking dead.
I'm having a good time here. I'm having a good time.
That's all right.
Oh my God, no, dear, you're a blessing.
I'm getting this out because I really need to. I mean, in Corey's book, he stated that that he was responsible for setting that up in the first place. The whole Dominic Braja thing. He set up Dominic Braja to be with Corey Haim. Well, you know what? Corey Haim was straight. Corey Haim was not gay. And Corey Haim, to be able or to get him to do something with Dominic, it had to take a little substance addition. So I don't know what it was. I don't know how it happened, but because I was not there. But what I'm saying right now is I believe that Feldman knows exactly how it was planned out because he helped plan it. And that makes him very culpable to what is basically the definition of child rape. I'm sorry, I'm shaking while I'm saying this.
Yeah, that's okay. It's okay. We need to hear other perspectives. I'll ask you later how you know the both Haim and Feldman. I want to let you continue though.
Right, I'm going to get into that. Yeah, I'm on a goodness, I'm on a rave right now. All right,
yeah,
so the other thing is, Feldman, to try and ease that situation for himself, should that ever come up in the future, claimed in his documentary that Haim had quote unquote consensual sex with Braja when Haim was underage. Well, I'm glad that Corey Feldman admits that he believes that underage sex can be consensual. Corey, you represent Child USA. Does that mean they agree with you? Child USA, if you're listening in, I strongly suggest that you address this immediately because he represents you.
That's right.
Corey claims that he witnessed Marty Weiss do something to Corey Haim on, back in Lost Boys. He wrote in his book that they went to the next room and closed the door. Well, you know what, Feldman, if you witnessed it, if you saw it, please give me a copy of the address to get those X-ray vision goggles. I'd love to be able to see through walls too, buddy. Okay, it's BS as far as I'm concerned. Now, he's also talked about being the luckiest kid in the world to have sex with a porn star while in his teens. And when people suddenly called him out because, he wasn't grouping, Ginger Lynn with the males were alleged to have sexually assaulted him and Haim, his supposed best friend, that's when he claimed that she technically raped him. He gives us his narrative. Whatever suits the narrative for the day, that's what he says. And he contradicts himself again and again. Well, you know what, Corey? I got something to tell you, buddy. I am gay, and I've been raped, and excuse me.
It's okay.
I was forced completely against my will, penetrated, tremendous physical and emotional pain when I was incapacitated. And I'll bet that Corey, probably listening to this, and if there's anybody who doesn't like me, any of my haters who might be listening, they're probably laughing right now. And they're saying, good, you deserved it. Think about that. They're laughing at somebody that was raped. They're cheering that someone was raped. They're celebrating right now. To those people, please, don't tell me that you're not laughing and celebrating, because I know you are. I'm glad you are. I'm so happy I could make your day. And, I know you're all good people for that. So, I've been through some tremendous traumas in my life. I was sexually assaulted at 9 years old by a stranger in a park. And a few minutes later, when my mom came to pick me up, I told her about it. And, just like the lady in the park who I first talked to, she did nothing. She did absolutely nothing.
Can I inject?
Sure, please.
Take a breath, Mr. Mandel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to make a point here. You hear the emotion in his voice while he's talking about the situation. He obviously, when he's describing the horrific assault that happened to him, you hear in his voice that he still has that pain and that trauma. When Corey Feldman talks about his alleged sexual abuse by men, he doesn't have it just doesn't come out right. It's not like a heartfelt thing. It's like he's just going through they gave me drugs and I sat down and I was going out of it, gave me a porn mag, and then he was tugging at my zipper. And it's always stuck with me about this trauma, especially when it comes to boys, men on boys, male on male, of when we're talking about sodomy, such as the alleged stupid Feldman Lucas between trailers with Crisco thing.
Yeah.
If any child, a small boy, was anally penetrated by a male, he is going to be hurting. He's going to be bleeding. He's going to be torn, especially if it was violent, And when I hear stories like this from Mr. Mandel, this is trauma. This is assault. This is child abuse stories right here. This causes damaged people. I don't believe Feldman's stories of how he claims he was allegedly sexually assaulted by Grissom and Alfie Hoffman. I just don't.
No, because there's no sincerity in his voice. There's no you can't tell the emotion.
Yeah.
You don't feel what he's feeling. You're feeling like, okay, he's either reading from a script, which he's great at reading from a script, and so is his wife, or he's just not telling the truth, and he's not. I totally agree with you, because you could see the internal struggle with Haim throughout different, interviews, or even on the two Corys, of just troublesome stuff,
Yeah.
he just seemed very much when you watch the two Corys, it's like, oh, yeah, oh, well, boo-hoo to you, da-da-da-da, and I'm just going to promote my wife and her titties, that's it.
Well, something else about Haim, if this happened to him on the sets of Lucas and on Lost Boys, I really sincerely doubt that he could have continued working or given the performances that he did. He didn't drop it one bit. He was right on target all the way through both feature films. And if anything sexually traumatic had happened, there's no way. There's no way.
I agree.
Same, yeah.
You know, I hope you don't mind. I'm going to jump in with a few more things about my own personal story
Yes, I'm
here.
sorry I interrupted
No,
you.
no,
Please, please.
No, he
No,
needed the
you're
break,
fine.
but please continue. Yeah.
No, you're fine. I appreciate that. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you for the concern. I'm reading it in the chat also. Thank you guys. You know, because of what happened to me when I was 9 years old, I figured, okay, I have to take care of myself. I mean, at 9 years old, it wasn't a rape. But 9 years old, you know, well, the actual rape took place when I was like around 24, 25. But, you know, at 9 years old, that was at a park across the street from a school where I went to. And my mom was meeting with my teacher and, you know, a little conference. So I was just at the park across the street. And some guy followed me into the bathroom, and he was doing something right next to me while I was in my stall. Or not, you know, I was standing up, obviously, and I realized there was something weird about it. I didn't know what it was, and I wasn't looking over. So I just kind of zipped up, didn't finish, and I turned to walk out, and the guy grabbed me. And I mean, I fought, and I hit and I ran. And I got out of there and I ran to, you know, the park office. I knocked on the door, pounded on it. And, you know, the lady who was inside opened it up and she's got a stack of papers in her hand. And I told her what just happened. And she looks around, she can't find, you know, she says, well, he's not there now. And I looked back and he wasn't there. And the only other person there was some lady in the park who was, you know, watching, you know, her own kid. And so, you know, I walked in her direction and the guy came out from behind a tree. And so that's when I moved quickly over to that lady and I pretended to speak to her and I pointed at the guy. And when the guy realized it, you know, or at least thought I was talking about him, he turned around, he started walking away. And a couple of times he turned around to look back. And each time he did, I made it look like I was talking to the lady. And, you know, he had just rounded the corner. A couple of minutes later, that's when my mom came out and I told her about it. And, you know, once again, she just, you know, basically said, let it go. So I couldn't believe that she wasn't doing anything about it. When I was 13 years old, I was at the wrestling matches over at the Olympic Auditorium in downtown LA. And I mean, I knew about myself, you know, being gay already. I was fully aware of it. In fact, I was fully aware of liking guys when I was much younger than that. I'll get into that in a second because that's not what you think. Anyways, I wanted a gay mentor in my life. I wanted somebody around. And while I was standing, you know, in the back, you know, not too far from the concessions center, some guy, you know, a bigger guy in his late teens walked up and started brushing up against me. And it's like, this is not what I wanted. And I turn around and I look at him. He's much, you know, bigger than me. He's definitely at least 5-6 years older. And so I just kind of walked myself forward a little bit, figured, okay, just whatever. And he came up and started again. And I hated to have to do this because, you know, here's somebody who I could talk to, maybe I could, you know, get to know, but he's forcing himself on me and that's not the way that I want to do it. And so I shouted right to his face, and I'm sorry I'm going to use the language, guys. I said, you fucking faggot, get away from me. Hey, stop brushing up against me. Stop rubbing your penis against me. And this guy turned and he walked away so fast. He went right down the stairs to where the dressing rooms were, right out the door, and he never came back.
Wow.
So I saved myself. I got rid of him. So, I mean, that wasn't really as traumatic. Now, when I was growing up, my mom used to talk, you know, we lived in a home in Encino, in a really nice home, you know, really, you know, pretty wealthy. Anyways, she was always telling us to stay away from black people, never have them over the house because they're crooks and thieves, never have Latinos over because they're crooks and thieves, and stay away from those goddamn homosexuals. Well, I knew I had to stay away from those goddamn homosexuals. I knew it. I had to stay away from them. Hey, Greg, got to stay away from you. Just kidding. Got to have a little levity in there somewhere.
Yes.
That's right. That's right.
So anyways, one day I picked up the Webster's dictionary, the Big Red Dictionary, because I wanted to see What is a homosexual? What am I supposed to stay away from? Now, mind you, I had my first childhood crush when I was, 4.5 years old. It wasn't sexual. It was puppy love. I mean, if I had done something sexual at that time, I probably would have really been screwed up for life. But no, it was puppy love, the same kind of crushes that every kid has. All right. It is not sexual. It's just, but it is indicative of what might be going on within you. And I'd had a number of crushes by the time I opened up that dictionary and read that a homosexual was someone who liked the same sex. And I realized that the person who might hate me the most in my life was my mother. And she was already physically and verbally abusive. So I slammed that closet door shut. And 13 was the age for things to happen, because when I was 13 years old, my mom got involved in an organization called LifeSpring, one of those cults. And while involved with that cult, I was definitely afraid of Moonies, and I was afraid of all those other cults that were going around at the time. And she came back and she was really weirded out. And it's like, I don't want to go there. I don't want to have anything to do with this. Well, it's a long story, but I'm going to cut to the chase. One night she says, okay, come on, family. We're going out to LifeSpring, all of us together. And I thought, oh my God, this is too much for me. So I'm a freaked out kid. I'm a freaked out 13 years old who's going into the equivalent of a Mooney camp that I am deeply afraid of. I don't want to have anything to do with it. They didn't exactly drag me kicking and screaming, but I knew that if I didn't listen to my mom, she'd beat the hell out of me. So I just went, okay. And we went inside the place, and they handed out these little fur balls that look like, they look like these things from Star Trek, those little tribble things. And, some guy comes up on stage and says, okay, hug those little, hug your new little friend. And I figured, okay, this is all right. This is okay. I can do this. And then they said, okay, we want you to find somebody in the room who you don't know and go give them a hug. Well, the way that I hid my sexuality from my mom was to say, I don't like girls. I don't want to touch girls. I don't want to kiss girls. I don't want to hug them. I don't want to know. I don't want to do anything with girls. I don't want girlfriends. But I never said I like guys. And I knew at that moment I couldn't hug a girl, but if I hugged a guy, that would be it. And I ran out of there, and I ran into the closet that was in the hallway of all places. The closet. Yeah. You can laugh. It's okay. My dad came out a couple minutes later, opened up the door. He found me. He said, look, just stay out here. You don't have to be in there. When it's over with in an hour or two, we'll just take off. And I was really scared, and I was shaking, and I just kind of curled up into a ball on a little bench that was in the hallway, and I fell asleep, or maybe I passed out. I don't know. And my dad woke me up, and we got in the car, and this is a 1-hour drive from my home. And all the way home, my mom is bitching and screaming at the top of her lungs. What the hell's wrong with you? What's the matter with you? You couldn't be in there. What are you afraid of? What do you're all freaked out about this. What kind of problems do you have? What's wrong with my son? And I had to listen to this for a whole hour. She didn't talk about anything else that went on in there. She didn't talk to anybody else in the family. She was just on me this entire time. And we get home, and as we're pulling into the garage, she says, you know what? A woman, makes your bed, because we had a housekeeper. A woman makes your bed. Maybe you shouldn't even sleep in that bed. You know what? A woman, drives you around. Maybe you shouldn't be in this car. A woman helped sell us this house. Maybe you shouldn't live in this house. You know what? A woman gave birth to you. Maybe you shouldn't even be alive.
Wow.
And that's when I totally lost it. I mean, lost touch with reality. I ran for the door. I ran inside. The kitchen was right there. I pulled a knife out, and I pointed at myself. And my mom stands there and says, go ahead. I dare you. And she stared me down. And I went, okay, forget it. I threw the knife, and I ran into my bed. I slammed the door. I curled into a ball on it. I'm crying. I'm out of my mind with fright, with fear, with pain. And my mom opens up the door and says, good, you're staying in there for a month, and slam. And the moment the door slammed, every bit of logic disappeared. Every bit of emotion disappeared. And it's almost like I was in a trance. And I got up and I walked through my door out to the kitchen again. And I grabbed a knife again. And the next thing I know, my dad, who's a doctor, is stitching up my arm.
Oh my gosh.
It was either my dad or my brother who stopped me, but didn't stop me quick enough for me to at least get, a couple of, small gashes in. Probably not too different from some of the blading that Corey Haim did because of his abuse. So I know what it's like. And again, in my 20s, there were a couple of different people who did things to me. So I've been there. I've been on that side. Haim's abuse at the hands of Dominic Braja is horrific. I walked into an award show one time, and he was there backstage. And I went back there and I said, "Hey, how you doing?" And he recognized me because we'd met a number of times, and we talked a little bit. And he said, Feldman's going to be here, fairly soon. You might not want to be here, because at that time Feldman and I weren't really getting along. That's a whole nother story. It was that only lasted a couple of years. But anyways, Haim was very pleasant, and he I asked him if I could take a picture with him. He said, "Sure, no problem." We took a picture together, and I was just curious because I knew all about Dominic Braja also. I knew better than anybody. And I said, "Is Corey still hanging out with Dominic?" And you could see the look on Haim's face. It was a sudden pallor. He was suddenly, you could see it in his eyes that he was hurt and he was upset. And I didn't say anything else about that, and I apologized. I said, "Don't worry about it, buddy. I'm not saying anything again." I never did. I saw him a few more times, through the years. I never brought it up to him again because there was no reason to. I had no right to. It wasn't my thing, my story. I'm glad he did. I'm glad he had the strength to bring it out on the two Coreys, because he really needed to. A few other times that I saw Corey Haim, I was driving down Rancho Street in Encino, and just happened to pass by a movie set. They were filming at a house, and there's a couple of people standing out there. So I pulled up because I'm curious. I want to know who, what's filming, who's filming. And opened up the window, and I said, "Hey, what's filming over here?" And some guy comes to my door or to my window and says, "Oh, well, it's a movie that stars this wonderful, young actress. She's really beautiful. Her name is Nicole Eggert. You really got to pay attention to her. You have to really know her." And I looked at the guy who was saying that to me, and I was saying, "Well, Corey, I'll make sure I watch her." And he goes, "Wait a minute, who are you?" And I said, "Hey, it's me." And he saw me, and he goes, "Oh, wow, okay, yeah." And I said, "Yeah, don't worry, buddy. I know Nicole. I'll talk to a few people about it. It's cool. It's fine." And that was kind of a fun time. Now, you guys want to know what kind of professional Corey Haim was. He put others in front of himself, but when he was on the set, he also did some very amazing things. He was the consummate professional. On the set of Lost Boys, I was there. And the first day that I got there, they were filming in Santa Cruz. And I went walking up to the set, and it was the scene where Corey rides his bike up to Mom's video store, drops the bike, runs inside, and tries to tell her, about vampires. And then she's, tries to get him out of the store. And they're blocking the scene, and they're prepping the scene. And, obviously he needs to infuriate his mom to the point where she's going to go ahead and toss him out of there, just get him out of there real fast. And Corey goes up to Joel Schumacher, the director, and he says, "Hey, Joel, wouldn't it make more sense? Wouldn't she be even more angry if I rode my bike into the store? Joel laughed. He quickly talked to a couple of other people, and they said, do it. Haim was thinking on his feet. Haim, could have been a producer and a director himself. This was absolutely amazing. And yes, Richmond, I have met Corey Haim. I met him a number of times. Very, very nice guy. But he was also a mischievous kid. He was a fun, and put it this way: during the day, he's working hard, he's doing a great job, and then during the evening, he needs to chill, he needs to relax, and so does Corey Feldman, and so does anybody else who's been at work for a long day. And at the hotel over on the Lost Boys, near the Lost Boys set, the hotel that they were all staying at, the pool closed at 10 o'clock in the evening. So what Feldman, Haim, and Newlander also would do on a semi-regular basis is when they get back and they're all, everything's all taken care of and they can relax, the three of them would get together, they climb over the fence and sneak into the pool. Not the worst thing in the world, because the people who were at the hotel, they were all people who worked on the film. They were all cast and crew. And so one night, Feldman, Haim, and Newlander. I got things to say about Newlander, boy. Anyways, the three of them go walking up to the pool gate, and they're about to climb over it, and the security guard shows up. He says, "No, you guys cannot go in there. It's after hours." And they were almost pleading with him. It's like, come on, everybody here is working on our film. They all know. They don't care if we splash around a little bit. I mean, we'll even be quiet. It's okay. And the security guard just wouldn't do it. And then who comes walking up? Kiefer, Alex, Billy, and Brooke. And Kiefer's leading the way, and they come walking up to that security guard, and they say, "Hey, what's going on here?" And the security guard says, "I'm not letting them into the pool. It's after hours." And they started going off on the security guard and say, "Hey, come on. Everybody here knows these kids. Everybody knows they've been working so hard, so really hard. Give them a chance. Let them have a chance to just kind of take a break. They've been working hard all day." And the security guard would not budge. So after a few minutes of the argument, they all took off, waited for the security guard to walk away to go to another part of the hotel, and they climbed the fence and jumped right back in again. They went right into the pool. And nobody complained. And so they had their chance. They had their enjoyment. So they were kids. They were professionals. Feldman, a little less professional than Haim. Newlander, professional, and actually very, very studious also. His parents made him take care of all of his studies, even beyond the 3 hours that, kids are, supposed to be in school on set. When he got home, he actually had to do a couple of homework assignments too. Fortunately, not too many, so he could actually go in the pool. And at least during that time on the shoot, there was a nice camaraderie. Looking at Feldman, knowing today from, what I know from the past, obviously his jealousies of Haim are absolutely beyond ludicrous. Yes, Haim got the girls that Feldman wanted. Haim had the starring roles that Feldman wanted. He got Lucas. He got Silver Bullet. He had lead roles, not even lead roles, starring roles. He top-lined these movies. He's on the poster of Silver Bullet, Lucas, and Lost Boys. Feldman didn't make the poster of Lost Boys. I mean, Little Chance Michael Corbett, the little kid, the Attack of Eddie Munster, he made the poster. And that was, and that's, maybe I think Feldman's probably still a little jealous about that today. But there's nothing he can do about it. It's the past. But why he continues to drag Haim through the mud because of his jealousies, and even worse, we know that Sheila was not the best mother to Haim. I knew them.
Sorry, Sheila. Feldman.
Correct. Sorry. I should have expanded on that. Sheila Feldman was not physically abusive to Corey, but she was verbally abusive to him, kind of like my mom, not as bad. If I could trade moms, I would do it in a heartbeat. She also, and I'm sorry, this is disgusting, but she also made, Corey rub her feet. When Sheila wanted a foot massage, she would have her son do that. Again, that's pretty darn gross, and certainly affected him. But that's no reason to turn around and push that hate on Judy Haim, who was a loving, caring, wonderful mother who took care of her son, and her son took care of her. I've seen those pictures of Corey Haim kissing his mom's head when she, had lost her hair because of the cancer. It's a beautiful photo. I mean, it's sad, but it's beautiful. It shows the mother-son relationship, the tight love, care that was there.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. And Feldman, to this day, there's no question in my mind that he is ultra, ultra jealous of the fact that Haim had that too. I mean, please, Feldman, come on.
Haim had everything he wanted.
What's that?
Haim had everything that Feldman wanted. Sheila was always telling Feldman, you were supposed to be blonde, you need to lose weight. And yeah.
Right. I said she was verbally abusive. She was not the best mother, but she had her own issues too. Corey, before Corey ever got involved in, his problematic activity, which all began when he met Dominic Braja. I'm going to peg it to that point in time. When he met Dominic Braja, that's when things turned. But before that, a couple of years before that, there was one day that Corey called me up and he said, Marty, you need to get over to the house right now. That's right, people. I'm Marty Weiss. That's right. I just said it. Corey called me up and he said, Marty, please get over here right now. And I got in my car and I drove as fast as I could down the Ventura Freeway into Tarzana to Canoga Avenue, made a left-hand turn, sped up that small street. And I saw Corey at the door and he was freaked out. And he said, Marty, I need to show you something. And so we went upstairs and we went into Sheila's bedroom and he opened up her closet. He went inside and he pulled out some vials. Yeah. Holy shit, Margaret, that's me. You know it. I know. I've got a few people going, wow, you got to be kidding. I wanted to get a few things out before I actually let you guys know. Anyways, Corey pulled out these little film vials that would normally come with a Kodak Instamatic camera, these tiny little plastic cylinders. And he handed it to me and said, take a look what's inside. And I opened it up and there was a fine white powder. And I looked at this and I went, oh my God. Now I had studied drugs. I knew what, drugs were. And I certainly knew what cocaine was, although I'd never done them. I'd never touched them. I'd always studied them. And that's why I didn't touch them. Actually, one of the reasons I didn't touch them, there was another reason too. And so I touched the powder and I put a little bit to the tip of my tongue and half my tongue fell asleep and I spit it right out. And
oh boy.
Corey was totally freaked out. He's a little kid. He was playing around in his mom's closet and he found cocaine and he didn't know who to call or what to do. And he called me because at the time he and I were close friends and we had confided a lot in each other. And by the way, no, I never had sex with Corey Feldman. Thank you very much. I never had sex with Corey Haim either. Thank you very much. Getting back to this story. I told Corey, okay, you got to call your Uncle Mervyn because he's the person who can handle this. You cannot let on to your mom. Tell your Uncle Mervyn, that there's an emergency that you need to meet over at your grandparents' place on Sunday. Get over there, bring the vials with you. Don't let your mom see them, and then hand them to your Uncle Mervyn and have him take care of it. And he did. Now, I don't know what the disposition was, but it happened. You know, it was taken care of. Now, did she ever use again? Your guess is as good as mine. I knew her for many years, and yes, I teamed up with her for 1 year in talent management. She's the one who actually gave me my first lessons in it. And there were lots of conversations that we had, and there were, you know, a number of concerns, especially because of what had happened previously. There's good parents, there's bad parents, and there's parents who are shades of both. Now, before I say anything else, Greg has something to read to you. Please, Greg.
Yeah, actually, I was going to get to that. Okay, guys, I've been really impressed with people in the chat so far. This is episode 5. I told you guys that I wanted to have conversations that no one else was willing to have. I'm tired of the prejudice. I'm tired of one perspective. I want to hear all perspectives. You want to hear all perspectives. So, Marty clarified to me earlier that he is here to help us understand things. He believes we should know about the history of both Corys and vital information to help us understand and help us protect our children and prevention of sexual abuse. Marty has made it clear to me that he is indeed nervous and will immediately leave this live should anyone attempt to ask him questions about his own case or tries to ask him any incriminated question at all. So if we want to help victims and survivors, we have a wonderful and rare opportunity, brought to you by The Greg Who Show, to learn something beneficial, some beneficial information right here and now with, yes, Marty Weiss, who Dishy and I both have talked to privately at length, probably Dishy more than me, but I've had very long, lengthy discussions with Marty. I had some questions I wanted to ask, and he was gracious enough and man enough to answer me. And I find Marty to be very redeemable, and he is here to help us. I believe that with my whole heart. And so this is a rare opportunity to learn some beneficial information right here and now. So please, Marty knows what he did in the past, and he doesn't need hateful reminders of why he's here with us tonight. So I, GregHarrison, am respectfully asking all of you in the chat to please respect these wishes and refrain from attempting to incriminate him in any way, shape, or form, and to especially refrain from asking him about his own case. So the way I view it, guys, is you've been enjoying me doing this. You've all been excited, and I told you I was going to go deep. I told you we needed to heal. I told you that adults needed to come to the table and have civilized, respectful conversation, a place where people could be safe, to be vulnerable, to be weak, to see both sides of the coin. And we have that now, presenting it to you now. So this is my house. This is my house, and you're most welcome to join me in my house, but I must insist you treat my guest, and Marty Weiss and Jenna and Dishy are my guests. This is my house, and so I must insist you retreat my guests in my house in a respectful and civil manner. And I know if you guys respect me, you'll respect that. Remember, I said I wanted to cultivate an environment, cultivate a community, a trusting community, a learned community, a civilized community, a place where we could have these conversations. We are providing that now. And Marty is being brave enough and courageous enough and vulnerable enough and honest enough to be here with us now. So please respect that.
Thank you.
Well
Before
said.
I go, yes, absolutely. Thank you, buddy. I want, before I go any further, to make a huge apology to Judy Haim and the Haim family, because if it wasn't for my own activities with somebody else, Corey Feldman never would have had a story to create about me and Corey Haim. And for the way he's dogged them by using my name, is beyond shameful. The Hames are wonderful people, and they do not deserve this. Now, I've made it clear to Greg, and obviously he clarified to everybody, that I do not want to talk about my case. I am going to just say a couple of tidbits real quickly because I saw some things in the chat. First of all, Bruno, I don't consider myself a bad man. I consider myself a good man who did a bad thing. But the reasoning behind it is not something that you guys understand because you don't know the whole story. There's only two people who know the full truth about that. And I never meant to hurt him. And if I thought about it and I really reasoned it the right way, I never would have gotten involved in any kind of relationship of that type. But by my own history, Splash, 1 second, please. You know, I didn't want him to have to deal with certain issues that I had to. There is a healing. Right now, there is a healing that is going on between me and him. And that is not happening online. It started online. And it started as a result of Corey Feldman. Because on March 9th and 10th, and we know those dates all so well, because March 10th was the 10th anniversary of Corey Haim's passing, all of a sudden, I'm starting to get all kinds of messages, DMs and posts saying, well, Corey Feldman outed you. Corey Feldman outed you. Corey Feldman, told us all about you. Corey Feldman. And I'm thinking to myself, you got to be kidding me. It's like Corey is now telling or trying to imply to the world that he outed me, and he's taking the credit away from a young man who was brave and courageous enough to come forward to his father and tell him about something that had been going on. And that's what brought my story to the front. And so I tweeted, and you can go to my tweets of March 10th. You'll see. I was actually responding to some Wolfpack guy. Anyways, who was talking about the documentary. And I said, I'm sick and tired of these people thinking that Feldman deserves the kudos for taking me out of this closet. And I said, for the first time since my adjudication, I am going to mention the name Evan Henze. And I said, go to his website, check him out. Go to his Twitter, check him out. And a couple hours later, I received a public tweet from Evan, telling me that he forgives me, that, it was really wonderful and totally unexpected. I didn't even realize it was coming. I had no clue. It was a beautiful tweet. Again, you can just go ahead to my Twitter. That's at MWM Talent. I think everybody knows that anyways. Goodness knows I'm
They probably all have you blocked.
Well, maybe they do. I mean, they can unblock.
Yeah.
Go to a sock account. I don't care. And by the way, my DMs are private unless you try to use them against me. Then I go public with them. One person did. That got taken care of a long time ago. But if you need to talk to me in private, you're welcome. You're invited. I will not be mentioning your name or information to anybody. So if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer. But
sorry,
anyways,
what's the Twitter? Sorry, let's really highlight your Twitter again.
It's at MWM Talent. It's my old talent management account, which I let go while I was on probation, but just left it up. And then when I came off probation, I came back on again. And initially, I didn't say that it was Marty Weiss. I just left it at MWM Talent. I think I changed the name to Survivor because I consider myself a survivor of abuse and a survivor of the registry, so to speak. We'll go into that later on too. But anyways, with Evan's response to me, I responded back to him. Thank you so much. I'm sorry for any harm I may have caused you. Public Twitter is not the place to talk about this. Let's take this private. You can DM me. Well, he did not DM me. And I thought, you know what? That may be a little too awkward for him. And so that night, I sent him a text. I said, you know who this is? you can, feel free to respond if you want to. And it was one text, and that was it. And I'm thinking, I'm done. Dominic asked me that again in about 20 minutes. So anyways, Evan did respond to me, in a private message, and we have messaged a number of times since then. They've been very positive. They've actually been beautiful. I mean, it's amazing. We haven't actually seen each other yet, but there is a plan, and I'm giving him his time and his space. He knows when he wants to. I know when he wants to, but something else has to happen first. And I'm not even going to go into that, but it's going to be positive, and it's going to be pleasant, and it's going to be nice. And I am hoping that he is doing well. I'm hoping that he's happy, and that, he's got his little music career going. And by all means, please follow him on all his accounts, listen to his music.
He's
by
very
all means,
talented.
go for it. By all means, absolutely. Okay, so that's all I'm going to say about Evan and about my case. Nothing else. Please do not ask. Okay.
I just want you to hear this comment. I have absolute 100% respect for people who can own their own shit authentically. It's a rarity in this world. Thank you, Marty. I just wanted to highlight a positive comment. Thank you for that, Courtney.
Courtney,
That's a great comment.
Thank you so much for showing that love and care, because that's exactly what it is. Let me tell you something. When you're on the registry, people do try to shame you as much as they can. People dog you as much as they can because they want to feel better about themselves. They know that when you're on the registry, you are basically the lowest scum of the earth by comparison to everybody else in the human race. And they try to restrict you from what kind of work, what kind of jobs you can have. They try to restrict you from housing. They say, hey, you can't live within 2,000 feet of a school. Well, excuse me, I'm not going to a school. Thank you very much. But, locking you down, and then they try to shame people who are trying to emotionally support you and get behind you. Let me tell you something. Every single person who ever commits any kind of criminal act and gets caught for it, and then goes through an adjudication and also goes through therapy, and again, takes ownership. I take ownership of what I did. It's that kind of healing that gets them back on the right track, so they don't reoffend, so they don't recidivize, so they don't end up homeless and busting in windows of liquor stores just to survive. I have some amazing loved ones. They're unbelievable. I have some people online who I've grown fond of, and they've grown fond of me, and they've accepted me, which is absolutely unbelievable. And I'm going to tell you something else. If you know that somebody's following me and they're chatting with me and they're talking to me, they are the greatest watchdog for the world, because they're the ones who are keeping people in line. They're the ones who are making sure they're on the straight and narrow, and they're the ones who are supporting them so that they will do good, so that they won't do bad later on. The registry hurts so many people, and it's not just the people who are on the registry itself. Think of it. There are parents who are on the registry and they can't see their sons and daughters in their school plays, and they can't go to their soccer games. If right down the street there's a birthday party and their best friend is having a party, the parents say, no, we don't want you there. They're not saying that to the parent. They're saying that to the kid. Your parent is like this. We don't want you there. Why take it out on the kid? Just say to the parent, you know what? We know what you did. We don't want you here, but it's okay for the wife to bring the kid over. Why not? When there are kids in school whose parents are outed on the registry, those kids are bullied, they're shamed, they're beaten up. Why? What did they do?
I was shocked to learn from you. I'm sorry, I couldn't even tell if my thing was working. My icon. Okay, there I am. I was surprised to learn from you that there are young children on the registry, because
oh my God. Yes.
They're, playing doctor games or whatever, or happen to touch a kid, and then that's obviously, a parent reports something, and I was shocked to learn. Would you say, was it as young as 10?
8.
There
are nearly 90,000 children and teens currently on the registries in the United States of America. There are 250,000 people who got on the registry when they were underage. And you know what? Yes, there are kids who get, they get playful with each other, and a parent finds out, gets pissed off, they call the police, and guess what? That kid's on the registry. There's kids who take pictures of themselves and they show it to other kids, and guess what? That's distribution of child pornography. If a kid does that in the state of Florida, they're on the registry for life, never to get off. And it goes further than that. This is a shaming tool. Okay, fine. You know what? I can handle it. I've been there. I've dealt with it. I've gone through absolute hell. But guess what? I've gone through this before. I grew up gay. I went through this same hell. I went through the same garbage many years ago. And by the way, Brooke, thank goodness there's only 30 people in here right now. Let people come in later on and hear what I have to say. I did not want to pre-announce this because I didn't want a whole bunch of haters coming in here and throwing shade and turning this into a shit show. That's not what this is about. I'm not. Right. I can handle the hate. I can handle it, but it's not to be here when I'm trying to help people. I'm trying to teach people. Okay. Let me tell you 2 stories real quick. Christian Adamek, 15 years old. A 15-year-old streaks at his high school football game. When the principal told him that he would face life on the registry for the prank, this 15-year-old hanged himself. 1 in 4 sex offenders got on the registry while they were under 18. Corey Walgren, another Corey, 16 years old, showed video of himself having sex with 2 friends. Faced with a charge of child pornography, he leapt to his death.
My God.
1 in 5 sex offenders under the age of 18 will attempt suicide. 1 in 5. That's per an August 15th, 2016 article by Tom Wall and Nicole Pittman.
I'd like to add something here. I don't know how many people, you might have the same situation like me, but I know of 2 guys that are on the registry because they dated a girl that turned out to be underage, even though the girl said she was older than 18. And they're on the registry list now because some girl, said, "Oh, he raped me." And one of them was a friend of mine that I knew going all the way back to 9th grade, so for decades. And I know what kind of person he is. He doesn't deserve to be on that list. And I'm sure many of us probably have friends that have had issues like that. Sorry, Marty, go ahead.
No worries, no worries. By the way, I just saw Aaron's comment. Thank you for being very brave and saying that, yes, we do talk to each other. And Nicole, yes, thank you. Who better to advise you than someone who knows both sides of the coin? Yeah, I've been there. There are people who have asked me in private, in DM, and I'm not giving out names. They can say who they are if they ever want to. That's their call. And they said, what is it that I can do to protect my children? And I get into in-depth conversations with them. And I tell them what they should discuss with their children and when, how early, and how to do it. I had a number of clients, a whole lot of clients, and I'm going to make this point right now. My clients today are working, some in the industry. Some of them are police officers today. Some of them have other jobs. But you know what? None of them are drug addicts. None of them have committed suicide. None of them are homeless. These kids are all doing well. Why is that? It's because I knew how to talk to children. I know that's a scary thing. I know that sounds really scary. Because I could be on the same level, because I knew their fears and I understood and understand their concerns. Now, will I talk to a child today? No. Let me rephrase that. If there are parents in the room and they feel the absolute need for me to tell their children something to keep them out of trouble, I will not be around a child without an adult right there, because I'm not taking a chance. I'm not getting myself into trouble. But in general, I'm not talking to kids. I'm not talking to children. I don't need them around me. I don't need that garbage. And I'm telling you something. One of the nicest things that was ever done for me, and it wasn't done as a nice thing, was in my apartment complex, there was a video camera that was put up in my hallway facing my door while I was on probation. And I went, oh, thank goodness. I never have to make an excuse. I never have to say that I brought somebody home that I shouldn't have had over at my place, because everything is monitored. Everything's on camera. And by the way, I got a little comment for Open Secret. Okay. These guys, I love their little documentary. Of course I saw it. Of course I did.
You were the star.
Oh, of course. I was absolutely. I've actually autographed Open Secret posters for a few people. Believe it or not.
I remember those tweets.
Hey, I got news for you. Somebody out there has a signed copy of Choreography, and they don't even realize that it really was signed.
Wow.
Yeah, I won't say when I did that. I won't say anything else. I'll just say that I did it, and somebody out there has an autographed copy of Choreography, and they probably look at it and they go, where'd this scribble come from? I hope they keep it. I hope that it's like everybody who has a copy of that book is now going to look through it and see, wait a minute, is there a scribble in here? Is there somebody signed it? But an Open Secret is based in truth and fact, but it's not factual. It's not truthful. There's a lot more to it. And one of the things, a couple of things that they said afterwards is that I'm still working with kids. And I thought, wow, that's amazing. And it seems like every week there's at least one person who says, we need to stop you from working with kids. You can't be working with kids. What the heck were you working with kids during probation for? And I'm thinking to myself, wow, okay. I respond to these people, at least the ones who do it in DM. I respond to them and say, hey, here's the deal. Probation was monitoring me all the time. Law enforcement was monitoring me all the time. They all knew where I was. They all knew what I was doing. I couldn't get away from that. So if you have a problem with me working with kids when I'm on probation, if that's what you really think and that's what you believe because you saw it on a screen, you take it to law enforcement and probation, walk in their doors with a lead pipe to show them exactly how much you're pissed off. I dare you. Because that's who you want to talk to, not to me. It's garbage. You guys want the truth? Ask me. You guys afraid that somebody's going to think badly of you if they see you talking to me in public? DM me. My DM is open to everybody. Everybody. And yes, I do block a number of people. I do block a lot of people because I really don't need to deal with a bunch of them. Some of them I get playful with.
You had me blocked for a while.
Oh God, Dishy, you and me.
You go way back.
Dishy, you were driving me nuts.
I know.
It's like, were you working with Sheila Feldman? Did you really work with Sheila Feldman? And at the time, I was trying to avoid, giving out a certain amount of information because I wanted to take it at my rate of time. I didn't want to just throw this all out there one time. I knew that was the wrong way to go about it. And so I kept on telling Dishy, don't ask me that again. Don't ask. I promise I'll tell you at the right time. And she kept harping me. I went, okay, that's it. Block.
I know. I'm an annoying bitch.
You were an annoying bitch. You were.
Yeah.
Totally. Oh my God. It's like
he blocked me and then I blocked him. And then I think 8 months later, Dick Danger said, you guys need to talk or work this out or something. Unblock each other. And then we went from there.
Dick Danger's awesome. Sorry,
go ahead.
Let me just say this real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Dick Danger has admitted that he talks to me in DM, so there's nothing wrong with saying that. Yes, Dick Danger and I talk. There are other people who admit that we talk. That's fine. Those are the only people who I would ever say yes. I talk to them. Nicole in the chat says, Marty is one of the coolest people I've ever talked to. Nicole, you're awesome. And yes, Nicole is one of those people who early on asked me about about some major concerns she had for her children. And I answered those questions. And she thanked me very much. Shannon says it right here too. Shannon, thank you very much. Yes, we talk too. So there are people that talk to me, and these people are very supportive of my redemption. They do not support what I did. I don't blame them one bit. I obviously don't blame them one bit, but I thank you so very much for the love, care, and support. And I make my promise to you, I swear to you that I will never, ever, ever touch another minor as long as I live, unless they're dying and I've got to save them. In that case, I'm going to do it. I'll take the risk. You know, if there's a kid in the house and that, you know, and there's smoke, you know, coming out of that house and they're screaming from the second floor window, I'm going to break through that front, you know, first floor window and try to get to them. You know, God, I could talk forever. I hope I'm not boring anybody.
No, you're not. You're not. Let me interject. You're not boring a single person. I'm getting a lot of good reactions, even on my Facebook. I was going to say, I want to ask you, Marty. You kind of
Please.
suggested that you might be giving people at this time an opportunity to even ask you questions live. Is that something you'd be open to, like having
As
someone come on?
as long as they fall within the parameters, I am asking you, please do not try to incriminate me on any grounds, on anything. Please do not bring up my case, and the sky's the limit. We're good.
Just keep them like Feldman and Haim related, 80s.
I would love to answer all questions about Feldman and Haim. I'm more than happy to.
Okay, so what I'm going to do, what I'm going to suggest at this time is, how about we all take a bit of a breather, because I commend you, Marty, and I applaud your efforts to make your amends with society, with Evan, and yes, I see many redeeming qualities. I've had some amazing conversations with you. I find you to be funny. I quite frankly, I find you to be an amazing kind of guy. And no, you're exactly right. No, I don't condone what you did in the past, but I applaud you for your steps of redemption, what you're doing, even being on this live and saying, hey, I'm here to help because I've been on both sides of the coin. This is the guy you want to listen to. I applaud you for your bravery. So on that note, what I would suggest is everyone kind of take a breather, including the people in the chat, including you, Marty, to compose yourself, to
I could talk
digest.
forever.
No, and that's okay. But I want to give you a bit of a breather to compose yourself. It's been very emotional, and I appreciate that. It's probably been emotional for people in the chat. So why don't I play another song, and everyone can decide whether they want to come on and ask you questions, or if they want to ask you questions in the chat. I'd prefer if someone wanted to ask you questions that they'd have the balls to come on here and ask you. And again, be respectable and civil, and no one will have to mute you. So I want you all to sort of take a moment to think about if you have the cojones to do that, and how you want to phrase your question respectfully and civilly, so that there's this is a drama-free zone. Any sign of drama, you'll be gone. I got my wrench holders, and I will mute you so fast, okay? Respect what's going on here. Respect it. Okay, you might not agree. You don't have to agree. We're having a civil conversation. Respect it. So here we go. I'm going to let everyone take a breather. We'll come back, and like I'm at an hour and a half, so we'll or close to an hour and a half. So we'll have another hour to go for Q&A with Marty Weiss, and or however the conversation develops. So here we go. Thanks, guys. Take a couple of minutes while I play this song. Okay, so
That's
we've had a
beautiful.
minute. Yeah, we've had a minute to take a breather. How's everyone doing out there? So, maybe show a little Haim support there. Any merch that you want to get at fineamerica.com, Haim Art, search Corey Haim. Go to fineartamerica.com, enter in Corey Haim in the search bar, and there will be all kinds of merchandise that you can buy to show your support for Corey Haim's legacy. This is the Greg Who Show. I'm Greg. Jenna, are you gonna say something? I'm trying to unmute your mic, but it says that you have to unmute it. So I don't know if you're trying to say something, but I can't tell if I can't unmute your mic. It says can't unmute your guest because they chose to mute themselves. So I don't know. Maybe she's taking a bathroom break. If you want to come back on, Jenna, to let me know in the chat. And guys, look out for that. So, okay. Does anyone have any questions? And we can certainly, Dishy, you're more than welcome to start the conversation. And if anyone comes in the backstage, I will definitely let you guys know. And I'm going to throw the link out there. And we've pretty much got an hour. Or as long as you feel comfortable, Marty, because I am respectful of how you're feeling and doing. And again, I applaud you for doing this. And I know that many people in the chat totally agree with me that this is totally commendable of you to do.
I appreciate that, Greg. And, you know, you reached out to me, and because you are, you know, close friends with the Haim family, and because you were the best friend with Corey Haim, that's why I'm here. Because, you know, I wanted to talk to somebody who understood, somebody who wasn't going to cut me down. If I walked on the Dr. Phil show or the Dr. Oz show, I know exactly where I'd be, you know. And I've been contacted by shows like that, and I just basically ignored the requests because, you know, who needs that? I want to be with an audience that will at least give me a chance to speak. And you can ask me the tough questions, but again, do it within the parameters, please.
Okay, well, Dishy, so maybe because you seem to know Marty best, and so you know the parameters definitely. So you can go ahead and ask him some questions if you want, or get a conversation going, and I'll let you know if anyone has any questions, either coming in the back office or if what I can see in the chat.
Okay. Well, I'm just going by some things in the choreography that I've always kind of been curious about. And in particular, there's a part here on page 230 where Feldman is saying that you arrived at his home dressed in a Donatello Ninja Turtles outfit, and you handed him a VHS tape. I went inside, inserted the tape in my VCR, and watched as the turtle removed the head of his costume. Inside the suit was Marty Weiss, wishing me a happy birthday. Apparently he was doing kids' parties now. I thought the gesture was more than a little creepy, and when I told Haim about it, he insisted we beat Marty up. We made a plan to lure Marty to a nearby park and jump him. Did that ever happen?
Well, first of all, the turtle thing, I don't remember it, but I'm going to go ahead and give him a green light on that one, because that sounds like something that I probably would have done. That sounds like something I would have done. I mean, I have a lot of memories of the past, but there's some that I don't. And yeah, I could have done that. But if I had done something like that, it wouldn't, you know, it wouldn't have been at a time when I was hanging out. Obviously, when I was hanging out with the Coreys, it would have had to been after the emancipation. So, you know, because I never would have just, you know, shown up to give him a videotape in a turtle costume. I would have taken my head off right there and said, "Hey, Corey, fooled you. Guess who it is?" So it doesn't make sense. Now, we did. Okay, there were a couple of times. There's a North Hollywood Park where, you know, we roughhoused a little bit. We got together a couple of times, not a lot, but a couple of times, and it was just, you know, fun, kick back. Maybe a wrestling match out there on the grass. And you know, I think the one time that I do remember more than any other. We actually, Haim and I got each other into basically a front face lock. And for those of you who are not familiar with professional wrestling, that's where you bring the arm around the back of the neck while the person's face is down, and then you wrap it up and basically put them in the equivalent of a chokehold, but it's not a chokehold because you got your arm around the chin and cheeks. You're not touching anything that's going to cut off the wind. And it's kind of funny, kind of comical that we're both struggling and we probably look totally stupid. And Feldman comes over to have his 2 cents. And he starts swinging his hand inside, almost like he's trying to grab on also and be a part of it. And he pulls his hand out. He tries to do it again. And, he did that a few times and, totally messed up. And Haim gets out of it and he's got a swollen eye. He's got a black eye. And it's like Feldman punched him in the eye.
Feldman punched Haim in the eye?
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
What happened?
He probably did it on purpose.
That was my thought. I just got a cold chill down my spine.
What year are we talking here?
We're talking, what was it, 86, 87, something like that?
Because I'm trying to figure it out in the book, and he's, a little all over the place in this book.
I know. Well, the turtle thing wouldn't have been until after. It wouldn't have taken place until after the emancipation. So the thing in the park had to have been beforehand because after the emancipation, we never would have planned to get together, the three of us.
Yeah, it looks like it's probably about 93 because he's talking about signing a movie deal, Happy Campers, that would become Meatballs 4.
I wasn't even okay from the time that Corey Feldman got emancipated to the time that he was arrested for heroin. We had no communication, between each other. It's because I tried to block the emancipation. And the reason I tried to block the emancipation is because Dominic, in all of his arrogance, had actually said what he had, what his plans were for the Coreys. I went to Sheila to try to get her to stop that from happening. She didn't lift a finger to do it. She just basically said, well, Corey will, just deny it. Dominic will deny it. And nothing's going to happen. And I said, look, you're still his legal parent. You're still his legal guardian. You can still, you can get him out of there. And she goes, no, he's just going to be really angry and upset. And he's just going to go back there again.
But you made it clear to her that
I made it clear. And go on, sorry.
I'm sorry. You made it clear to Sheila that Dominic had made it aware to you that he had ulterior motives in molesting Feldman? Is that what you're saying?
He said it blatantly. He was going to get Corey high on pot, and this is while Corey had mono.
And was sleeping on his couch.
Right, he was sleeping on his couch, and I said, Dominic, you can't do that. He's sick. You're gonna make it worse if you do that. And he goes, no. Besides, I have there's something else that I'm gonna do. And he starts smiling, and he gets all confident, cocky, and arrogant. And it's like, no, Dominic, you're not going to do that. And he goes, yeah. Let me just say this, okay? The people that I've had sex with, and I'm gay, okay? I'm gay. I have never ever had sex with anyone who was on drugs that I knew was on drugs at the time. That's just something that I don't like. I don't get involved with. I've smoked pot 3 times in my life, and the very first time was medicinal. So back then, I didn't know the true effects, and I didn't know if somebody could actually be put in a position with it to where they would be complacent to having themselves sexually assaulted. I don't know. I should say I didn't know. I think with pot, it's probably not that possible, but it's still it's not probable, but it is possible. And I'm thinking Dominic is going to use this on Feldman while Feldman's got mono. And when Feldman says that, Dominic never did anything to him, I go, okay, well, maybe Dominic stopped short because he didn't want to get mono. I'm just going to go ahead and, accept that. Oh, by the way, Shannon, I met Ryan White.
No, they want you.
Absolutely.
They want you to tell the Ryan White story.
The Ryan White's.
Nicole said, "Tell them the Ryan White story if you can." And then Shannon said, "Oh, I remember the Ryan White story." So,
Yeah, I did. I did a lot of work with charities back in the day when I was a publicist, and this was in the days when AIDS was ravaging the gay community. It was the quote unquote gay disease, and we didn't have a face that we could use to get the general public to stop hating, to stop just making the general assumption that it was a human disease. And then Ryan White shows up on the cover of a magazine, I think it was called Picture Week. And I saw it and I read the story and I was intrigued. It's like this kid from Kokomo, Indiana who has HIV. And he got it because the blood supply wasn't being tested at the time. And he was a hemophiliac. So he was helped out by many major stars, Michael Jackson, Elton John, Elizabeth Taylor. I mean, they were all, going to his beck and call and helping out the family. And, they were helping out Ryan and helping out Jeannie, which was absolutely wonderful. Jeannie's his mom. And, I'm thinking this kid is standing up for the gay community. He's not gay, but he has HIV. And I'm going, wow, this is absolutely amazing. So I wanted to meet Ryan and Jeannie, and one of the charities that they were involved with was Athletes and Entertainers for Kids. And I sent them celebrities all the time. So when I knew that there was going to be an event that he was going to be attending, I asked, is it possible for me to go ahead and meet him? Well, the event itself was, very, very exclusive, so I couldn't go to it. It was all A-listers. But when it was over with, they went back to the hotel, and I was, given the go-ahead to come on up and meet them. And so I had a chance to sit down and talk with them for a few minutes and tell them, how much I respected them. I respected both of them for everything they did, how sorry I was for everything that they went through, because they were put through hell. And, it was a very pleasant couple of minutes. I had a poster from one of the Friday the 13th movies. No, not 4 or 5. Thank you very much. It was from part 7. And I was involved in publicity on that one. And there was a very rare poster called, the I Love New York poster, because back then we had I Love New York posters all over the place. So this one was a Friday the 13th I Love New York poster, and I had a very select few. And I gave one to them, and it was kind of a nice little, experience. I did get to be a big brother for another kid with AIDS. And I'm just going to say his first name. I'm not going to give away his last name. If you go to my Twitter and you do a deep search, you'll find it. His name was John. And likewise, he had the HIV virus and was in really bad shape when I first met him. I'm not going to go into all the details of how I met him. It's in my book. You can read it when it ever comes out. I mean, it's going to come out. It's going to come out. If I don't get a publisher for it, I'm going to go ahead and self-publish. But there's something that has to happen first. I'll tell people in DM what that is. But anyways, I was a part of this program, and he latched on to me. He didn't get along with anyone else in the program. He was basically a lone wolf unto himself. Boy, I like that word, lone wolf. Wow. And for the time he was in the program, I became basically a big brother to him. Now remember, this is a kid who has AIDS. I know he has AIDS, and he's straight, so nothing's happening sexually. I know some people are going to say, what did you do to him? Nothing. But I did take him around, and I did make sure that he had the greatest opportunities to live a full life in the time that he had because his T-cell count was very low. I brought him on the set of Saved by the Bell, the new class. He had a bike that he had won, in a contest at Burger King that was stolen from him. Well, I went to the cast of new class and I said, hey guys, this is the deal. This kid named John, he has AIDS, and he had a bike stolen. And the entire cast put all the money together. They handed it over to me. I went out, I bought the bike. I put in a couple bucks myself too. They invited John to the set. They gave him an all access pass so he could do whatever he wanted, could go wherever he wanted. And the cast and I presented him the bike. And there's video footage of that. I still have the video footage. Maybe one of these days I'll post that. So it was really awesome. It was really special. When he left the program, I thought that was it. I'm not going to see him again. And well, I get a phone call the next day. Hey, Marty, you want to get together? It's like, wow, okay, sure. I didn't expect it. But he and I continued our friendship all the way through to his 20th birthday. And he died on his 20th birthday. It was one of the worst days of my life trying to drive the hour from Encino to Lancaster in Southern California. And at the time we didn't have cell phones. I had a pager, and I told his mom, I said, if he passes while I'm on the road, don't page me. I'll go off the road. I'll crash.
Yeah.
And years later, I told my dad, I did the same thing with my dad when I was put in jail. I called my dad, got him while he was driving, and I had him pull over, park the car, turn it off, and pull the keys out before I told him that I was arrested, because I knew that same thing was going to happen to him. I wasn't going to put him through that. Oh my God, Dad, happy Father's Day. I love you. He's 90 years old and still kicking, and he's got cancer. He's got cancer of the lungs and all over the place, and he's still kicking. All right. Do I have plans to sue Corey Feldman?
Be careful answering that question, Marty.
I'm going to be very careful answering that question. The answer is maybe. Maybe. I'm going to explain. There is something that I could try to sue him for that I would have a 50-50 chance that would be it right there. I don't know whether I'd win or lose, and it could turn into the ultimate, problem, the ultimate shit show. I love that word too. And it's like, okay, no, it's, I don't know if I want to endure that, deal with that. I'm dealing with more. I'm actually putting him through a hell of a lot more by being honest and open on Twitter than I am by suing him. I mean, there are so many people who have turned against him because they saw the thank you video. Hey, Corey, you're welcome.
Yeah.
That video was 2004. Is that right?
2004 Young Artist Awards in a room full of hundreds of children. That's right. You're welcome, Corey. 16 years later, you're welcome, buddy. Supposedly 2 decades after the quote-unquote Marty and Haim incident. Give me a break. Patty has a question. Do I have inside information on Feldman and MJ? Hold tight for that. There's one other thing that I could potentially sue him for, and lock, stock, and barrel. He's got no defense against it. I will decide when the time comes if I'm going to do that. There's a number of things that I'm thinking about. I'm not saying that I'm going to. I'm just going to say that it's on the table, and I could literally sue him for $150,000. I can. I will make that determination. Michael Jackson.
Oh boy.
Corey Feldman. I am not going to tell the entire story here, but what I will say is that there was one evening back in the 80s when Corey had asked me to pick him up from Michael Jackson's. Now, my mom had a Mercedes, and I was driving around in a beat up old station wagon, which was the car that I got to drive. And Corey said, Marty, please, can you get the Mercedes and drive over here and pick me up? Please, can you do that? Because I really want it to I want to make it look good for Michael. And I go, I'll do my best. I'll try. And I think I was pleading with my parents, both of them, for about 10 to 15 minutes before they finally gave in, because Michael Jackson and I, our homes were probably about a 6-7 minute drive from each other. That was hardly anything at all. I didn't have to get down to the big boulevard. I could just do the back roads. And so I drove down to the Feldman home, not Feldman home, the Michael Jackson home in my mom's Mercedes. And at this steel gate, I rang the buzzer, and there was a guard inside who said, okay, come on in. And there were fans across the street, and they were probably dying to know who was in the car. There were always fans, in front of Jackson's house there in Encino on Havenhurst. So I drive in. Immediately, there's a guard who comes over, talks to me for a second, sees my ID, takes a look around the car, makes sure that everything is safe and status quo, and then sends me on, down the driveway to a clearing where there's another guard standing there. And, he stops. I stop, and he says, okay, this is what you do. You just pull over here, park. It was a circular driveway with, I think it was like a fountain in the middle of it. The home was spectacular. It was like a glass home with chandeliers in every single window, all lit up in the darkness. It was the most amazing sight. It was beautiful. And I pulled over and I stopped, but I thought to myself, you know what? I'm not going to stay in the car like the guard asked me to. I'm going to get out because, that's what chauffeurs do. So I opened the door, I stepped out, closed the door, and I'm standing there by the side of the car. And it's like, come on, Corey, come on out already. Come on. And I'm wondering whether or not I'm going to get to meet Michael Jackson again. The first time I met Michael Jackson was on the set of The Goonies. And Corey introduced me to him. So Corey and Michael come on out. And instead of coming over to the car, they're skipping around like a couple of kids. Well, Corey's a kid, so okay, fine. And I'm thinking, okay, this is funny. This is hilarious. And they go, it's kind of skipping off and walking, and just kind of being playful. And they go into this little corner area in the darkness. And all I'm going to tell you right now at this moment, is that they were in that same spot for 5 minutes. And even though it was a dark spot, I could see silhouettes. And I'm not going to tell you what I saw. You can do the math. And if Corey's pissed off about that, well, sorry, Corey.
I don't think that's math. I think it's biology, Marty. Sorry, I just had to throw that in.
Greg, you're hilarious. Love you, Greg.
I aim to please.
Yeah. So one other thing regarding the kids who've made the accusations against Michael Jackson, I want to say this. I do believe that there was improper activity that went on. I was not there, so I cannot prove it. I cannot just go ahead and make the allegation. But I'm going to tell you that in every case, every situation where somebody says that they were sexually abused, they need to be listened to. They need to tell their story. And people need to listen. And what I would hope is that no victim out there, yours truly included, would lie about what happened to them, would tell the honest truth about it. Do I believe everything that they have said? I have to tell you, I don't. I think it's a little above the top. But again, I do believe that improper behavior did occur. I do believe they were victimized. And I hope that they're okay. I hope, that whatever traumas they went through, they're doing all right. And, the way that Corey came down on them initially was disgraceful for somebody who claims that he is out there standing on the side of victims. You don't pick and choose your victim or victimizer. if somebody you know is accused, there has to be honesty and conversation. And there are false accusations out there. There absolutely are. I've met people that were falsely accused. I met one person who beat his case because all of a sudden it was found out that the person was lying, and and the guy actually, you don't know how thankful he was. In the therapy group, he kept on professing his innocence. He would not break away from that at all. And some of the people in the group were saying, "Nah, he's lying, he's lying, he's lying." And I was thinking to myself, God. Am I aware that Braja tried to pin his own crimes against Haim onto me back when he was alive? Yes, I'm well aware of that. I'm very well aware of that. I believe that Braja and Feldman conspired to create that story.
I do too.
Braja, after everything that took place, especially after the emancipation, he was the one who orchestrated the end of the friendship with Corey. The end of my friendship with Corey. We were not friends for 3 years. And yeah, that was Dominic trying to make sure that I was nowhere around. You know why? Because I wrote a letter to block the emancipation. I told you guys that before. I'm telling you again. And part of that letter was very damning because it would tell the judge everything that went on inside of the time that I knew Dominic, along with Corey. And what happened, I gave that letter to Sheila because I did not want to show up in the courtroom myself. That would have been bad news. And Sheila, instead of giving the letter to the judge like I asked her to, handed it over to Bob Feldman, Corey's father. Now, the next part of this, I don't know whether it's true or not, but this is what Dominic and Corey told me that night on the phone. They told me that letter, Bob, remember, this is their words, not mine, that Bob took that letter to Corey and Dominic and said, read this. Now, you have $40,000 left in your bank account. You give me the $40,000, I'll tear up the letter and sign the emancipation papers. I don't know if that's how it happened. I don't know if that's what happened. But what I do know is that letter never made it to the judge, because if that letter ever made it to the judge, that emancipation never would have happened. And there would have been an investigation on Dominic Braja. And guess what? Had that happened, Corey Haim probably never would have been molested by Dominic Braja. And to this day, I regret that I didn't walk into that courtroom, because had I walked into that damn courtroom, there's no fucking way, pardon my French, that Dominic would have ever had his hands on him.
No.
You were in your early 20s then, right?
Yeah.
That's a tough stand to make at that age, you know?
I was so afraid I was going to lose, I was going to lose my friendship with, Corey. That's the one thing that I was so concerned about. And I should have just figured that was going to happen anyways.
How did it affect your relationship with Sheila?
Sheila and I were talking afterwards. We were both in shock that the emancipation went through. It was difficult. I mean, you have to remember, I know that, she was, I know that she was verbally abusive to him, and I know the rubbing the feet thing and all that, but that was nothing compared to what Dominic could potentially put himself through. And, Sheila and I maintained a friendship, and I never saw her do that to her other kids. I never saw her treat her other kids like that. Eden, Devin, little Brittany, I never saw her do that with any of them. And so I went, okay, that's all right. That's cool. Whatever happened has happened in the past. I think things are better, with her right now. And so a friendship continued. Corey was aware of it. He didn't like it. Corey tried to block my friendships with anyone who was in the industry at the time. Dominic tried to as well, especially Dominic. He didn't want me talking to anybody. And there were a number of people that were friends with them who also came to me and they said, you know, Marty, we know what's happening. I want you to still be friends with me. We still want to talk, still want to hang out, but please don't ever say anything that we are. Let's keep it secret. And it's like, no worries, no problem. I'm not going to do that.
So would it be fair to say that Dominic Bruscia?
Sorry,
And-
can I interrupt? Can you respond to this question, or is this not a good question?
I'd like to know anything he'd like to say about Harold Pruitt and Jason Preston. Well, I knew Jason Preston. I don't know if I knew Harold Pruitt. No, just another person in the past. I mean, if he wants to say hi, if he wants to come say hi to me again, he's more than welcome to. But I haven't seen him in a long time. Our friendship went south also because of Corey Feldman telling people don't talk to Marty, and Jason was one of them, and so it's like, okay, fine, that's over with.
Okay, so just a reminder to people, if they have more specific questions that they could do in DM Maximus Prime, you can reach Marty at his Twitter, which, say it again,
at MWM Talent.
Okay, so if you have more specific question that you want to ask him, go and just rewatch this video and respect the boundaries, and you can ask him a more specific question. Sorry about that, Dishy. I'm just trying to facilitate all the questions that are coming through. Go ahead.
Yeah,
No worries.
no, that's good. No, all I was gonna say was, would it be fair to say that Dominic Bruscia and John Grissom were instrumental in pushing Corey towards emancipation, and then they got their hooks into him and financially profited from him?
Dominic more than John, much more than John. I think John was more or less, for all intents and purposes, a stooge in this whole situation. It's funny because John was a good looker. I wouldn't have minded being with him. I wouldn't have minded, but no, I met him only a couple of times when I went over to see Corey over at Bob's office. That's Bob Feldman's office over up on Cahuenga. Brooke, I'm not confirming that MJ was. I don't know what his sexuality was. Remember, there's degrees of sexuality. There's gay, straight, bi. There's pansexual. There's intersex. There's degrees of each. So whatever Michael Jackson's actual sexuality was is not something that I know. But if you ask me, was he straight, I would say no. But beyond that, who knows?
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Next question.
Yeah. I feel like da 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 da. Hey, like, woo.
Hey, I'm being open with people here. I mean.
Yeah, for sure. No, I think everyone is loving it. I think everyone's just in a little shock. They're like, "Hey, Greg, you're really setting a high bar for the Greg Who Show here. Like, who is this Greg Who? What's the deal with the Greg Who? How does he get exclusive guests like this?" It just happened, man. And you're right. I might have a hard time beating this episode. And this isn't even a properly produced episode. This is just sort of a live piecemeal together. So I don't know how I'm gonna beat this, but I am grateful to Marty. But I think that we're all grateful that this community has been, we're still we've got a half an hour left at this show just because of my StreamYard time. Otherwise, I'd go on for as long as people wanted. But I think I'm just really grateful for the community, that there was no negative comments. And I think maybe some people, if they disagreed, they just graciously left the chat, which is totally cool. I respect that as well. So I'm just happy for this community. I'm so grateful to you, Dishy. Jenna, I'm sorry about the technical difficulties, but I think we are cultivating a community that will will be respectful and hear a different perspective and get closer and closer to a full fleshed out truth and different angles of the same story from different people, you know. And this is just adding to the truth that we already know and piecing it all together. And so I think everyone's happy. And no, I don't think there's anyone that's bored at all. This has been great. I don't know what that means, Maximus Price.
I agree, Greg. You know, I think it's very important that we get both sides of the stories whenever we can.
You have to.
Yes, and I think a lot more people need to have independent thinking, and without naming anybody in particular, any group in particular, you can't just take someone's accusation or words and just run with it, because things get very slanderous. You know, you start getting into legal areas and things, and we're talking about very serious subjects here. Feldman seems to take it very lightly when he makes allegations against people involving abuse, and it shouldn't be that way. I wish his fans would call him on things more, take a stand against him and say, prove it, explain it, you know, instead of just letting him run his mouth, because he's hurt a lot of people doing that, and he continues to hurt people.
He's hurt way too many people.
Yes.
Way too many. You know, when I hear and see the Angels, because I've watched their videos on YouTube, you know, I'm going to tell you from experience on both sides of Me Too, they were victimized. I see it in their eyes. I hear it in their voices. And again, this is nothing against them personally. I don't know how much of what they're saying is truth, but I do know that their comments have remained constant for 3 years. So I don't have any reason at all to doubt what they're saying.
I agree.
Okay, so a couple of questions have come up. Let me try to address them. And by the way, thank you very much for the compliments. I am seeing them. I think that's wonderful. Somebody asked about the video, the thank you video in 2004. Before I talk about that, when Corey was arrested for heroin possession, he was caught with those 25 balloons. At the time, obviously, he and I were still not friends. It was, you know, the emancipation was still a sore issue with him because he thought I turned against him and he didn't know why. And this time I wrote another letter and delivered it myself to the courtroom where he was. And it had been a few years. So I sat down behind him and I tapped him on the shoulder. I said, "Hey, Corey." And he goes, "Well, what are you doing here?" And he was friendly. And it's like, this is not someone who's angry with me. This is someone who's being pleasant. And I handed him the letter and I said, "I can't tell you. I need you to read it." And he walked away from his attorney, walked into the row right behind where I was sitting and sat down next to me, and he read it. And when it was done, he said, "Look, Marty, I know what you did and I know why you did it. I know why you wrote that. But I really don't believe that you had my best interest, because I really needed to get that emancipation." And I said, "I understand. What are the chances that we can be friends again?" And he said, "Well, we can be friendly acquaintances." And I go, "You know, if that's what I get, if that's what I can have, I'm going to go ahead and take it. That's wonderful. Because you and I used to be best friends. We were really close friends. And I never wanted to lose that." So in 2004 at the Young Artist Awards, I had helped out the Young Artist Awards. I didn't work for them, but I worked with them. I tried to help out a lot because I had clients, you know, that I wanted to help out. And so, you know, from time, you know, whenever they had an awards show, I was always there with my clients. And if there was help needed with something, they would say, "Hey, Marty, can you help us out?" And I go, "Well, okay, yeah, sure." and they needed a little bit of, help for Corey and Susie when they were there. So I went, okay, sure, no problem. And I sat down with Corey and Susie, basically in a waiting area, and we're chatting away and having, a nice little conversation. And with that conversation, we went into the room, and I, helped make sure that they were, taken care of and okay. And that was it. So I wasn't working for the organization, but I was helping them out. And I was also helping out Corey, my friend or friendly acquaintance, Corey, and his wife. That's what I'm thinking. So Corey gets up on stage, and I'm not thinking anything, but I'm running my video camera. Because I figure I'll make a copy of him getting his award and saying his speech, and I'll give it to him. And all of a sudden, a few minutes in, he says, "Oh, and thank you, Marty Weiss." And I go, it's like, wow. And I'm trying to hold the camera steady. It's like, wow, he just thanked me. That's so cool. And I had a few clients close to me, and they're going, "Wow, does he mean? Wait, was that you?" Yeah. So they kind of got excited. That was hilarious. I went up to him after the show and said, "Dude, you didn't have to do that. That's a surprise. Thank you." And, it was a very pleasant conversation. I said, "Look, let's take a picture together also. Okay, I want to take a picture." And he goes, "Yeah, sure. All three of us." And so Susie's the lady, so she's in the middle, and the three of us take a picture together. Corey forgot that the video existed. Corey forgot the picture existed. And there's somebody else who forgot that pictures of us existed also, despite the fact that our friendship had gone into the years after my adjudication. He was a supportive person, and he could have taken the high road and told me, "Marty, they want me to play you in this Lifetime movie." He could have told, yeah, you know where I'm going with this. He could have told me, "I know you're probably not going to like it, but it's a chance for me to do a movie. It's a chance for me to do a project. I'm going to go ahead and take it." But he didn't. And then I saw him at a collectible show. For anyone who doesn't know, I like collecting some movie memorabilia, a couple lobby cards, movie posters, things like that. They're pretty cool. I've got a Trouble with Harry and a Top of Returns on my wall right now. Well, this longtime friend of mine wasn't telling me, and he sees me at this collector's show, and he comes up, and we're joking around, and here I am wearing my Lost Boys cast and crew jacket, and he says, "Hey, Marty, I want to take some pictures with you. Let's take pictures doing the Corey high sign." And I'm thinking, "Oh, this is hilarious." And I said, "Take a look what jacket I'm wearing." I turn around and show it to him, and we're busting up. And so we take some pictures with his camera, with his with his phone camera, whatever. And then, as soon as we're done, I say, "Hey, I want to take a picture with mine also." And he was hesitant. He didn't really want to do it. And I said, "Come on, we got a lot with yours. I want to take a picture with mine." And so I handed the camera, her phone camera, over to his wife, and she took a picture of us doing the exact same thing, the Corey high sign. I knew somebody who was at the premiere of Lifetime, The Tale of Two Coreys. And I was waiting to hear how bad was I portrayed in it, or did it treat me with any kind of respect? And I was told. And I said, "Okay, that's all I need to know." And at the time, my Twitter account was not Marty Weiss. It was, I think I had it listed under Survivor. So I posted a nice little promo on there. "Yeah, check out The Tale of Two Coreys on Lifetime, starring Keith Coogan as Marty Weiss. And here are two pictures of Keith and Marty together. Go check out the story of Corey Feldman and Corey Haim on A Tale of Two Coreys. Check out this video where Corey is thanking Marty, and here's a nice picture of them together, in Corey's adult years."
It cracks me up that you put that stuff out there and made it go viral. And then people like Gabe Hoffman and Revenge of the Sis pick it up like they think they stumbled upon something secret, you know? And they try to twist it into something it wasn't. It cracks me up.
They got exactly what they asked for. And I never would have done it had Keith just been honest with me. That's all. I mean, I would have said, I don't like it, but okay, fine. I mean, Keith is a good person. He's a decent person. Let me tell you something. I was at, Corey Haim's private memorial party. I was invited, not by Judy, but by someone else who said, look, Marty, you knew Corey Haim back in the day. Would you like to, come to the party? And I said, you think it's going to be all right? And, he said, yeah, it's going to be fine. No problem. And everybody there was friendly with one slight exception. Corey Feldman was not exactly too thrilled to see me there because he realized that many, many years ago, he told everybody, don't ever talk to Marty again. Don't ever have anything to do with Marty again. And he figured even after our friendly, acquaintanceship came back again, that nobody was talking to me. And that night he found out that a lot of people were still talking to me. And I think it was a hit to his ego. Well, I went out the door, and actually Keith was not there, and I'm looking around for him. I'm trying to figure out, where's Keith Coogan? I mean, he was part of the group back in the day. Where is he? And I went up to Judy and I said, Judy, where's Keith Coogan? And she goes, oh my God, because Judy wasn't the one in charge of all this. I mean, remember, she's still reeling. This is still fresh. This is like less than a month after, her son passed. So, you can't blame her for missing a name. And she stops everything right there and says, everybody, listen, I have an announcement. If there's anybody that you think should be here that isn't here, please call them right now. Please let them know they're welcome to show up. Let them know this is happening. And I called up Keith and I told him about the memorial going on right now. He dropped everything and he raced to get over there. I had to get on the phone with him, or he had to get on the phone with me a couple of times so I could help direct him to exactly where it was. But he made it with a few minutes to go. I mean, it was, really late, but it was still a few minutes to go. And so he got to be there and he got to, pay his respects to Judy and to other people. And he was so nice and so kind and friendly. And we walked out together afterwards, and there's my car with a flat tire. Now, I'm not making insinuations. It's just a flat tire, and it could have happened naturally. I could have run over a nail or something. Who knows? But, I've got, probably, 11 pinkies when it comes to redoing a tire. So Keith said, hey, I can do this for you. And so he pulls out the jack, gets the tire out, and and basically that night we helped each other out. So I love it. I think that's wonderful. We're, close friends. For him to portray my character and do it in a way and in a film that is so negative towards the Haim family, to me was just shocking. It's very obvious that the moment I posted those photos of him online, that there was no way he was ever going to talk to me again. And to me, after I saw the Lifetime movie, I felt the same way.
So, Marty, can I ask you, Hollywood-wise, with that movie, the Lifetime movie?
Yeah.
How does that work when they're portraying someone in a movie and they're going to use their real name and that person is still alive? Do they have to get permission, or can they just do that?
They're taking a risk by doing it, but at the very end of the film, if you watch the credits, there is a disclaimer saying that this is based on true stories, but maybe embellished. I don't know the exact words, but what it's basically saying is that even though this is based on truth, not all of it may be true. It's a way of a docudrama protecting itself.
Okay. That was a
So
horrible movie. I
I
only
agree.
watched it once. It was awful. It made
I
me so
watched
mad.
I watched it one time also, and I said, to hell with this. I'm not going to watch this again.
Yeah.
But I was taking notes.
Yeah.
What else do we got in the way of questions?
Probably not much because we probably have to kind of start wrapping it up because I'm at 2:17. So
Because Greg
just so
is
you,
Gabby. He's up all his hours this month already.
yeah, well, I don't know how Marty is going to feel. I think the response towards you has been amazing. Dishy, you've been awesome.
Thank you.
And
Thank you,
Jenna,
Greg.
I apologize to Jenna. I couldn't get your mic to work. I think you had it muted, and then I put you on, and your ambient noise was like hideous. So I didn't want. I just had to do that. Jenna didn't do anything wrong. We just had technical issues. Jenna can always be my co-host. So it's been a really awesome time. So you guys still have like 12 minutes, and as I say, Dishy, and I mean this as no disrespect to you, but rather respect. I'll get out of your guys' way because this is awesome, and I just view my thing that I'm facilitating and cultivating an environment where this can be done. Really, I know you guys want to be respectful because it's my show, but I know when to get out of the way, and you guys are doing an awesome job. And
Thank you.
my chat has been awesome. There's been I have not seen any disrespectful comments, so I think this has been awesome. So Marty, whether you want to come back or not is totally entirely up to you, but I want you and my chat and the general public to know that you're always welcome back here, and Dishy, you are always welcome back, just like Jenna's welcome back. But Marty, you must know that you're welcome, and I hope you know that we've created a nice safe space for you, and your voice is a part of the conversation, as is everyone's. And you're quite right, these voices need to be heard, Marty, and not just yours but others, and every voice, every victim should be heard. And so I think we're starting a great thing, and I think this can be a healing process, but we'll respectfully have to leave it up to Marty whether he comes back on my show or not, but he's always welcome here. And
I very much appreciate that, Greg. And there will come a time, it's not going to be immediate because I'm going to need a little bit of a break after this.
Yeah.
I mean, this, that there were a lot of concerns that I had coming on this, program today. I want to help people. I help people that are, victims and survivors of sexual abuse. And I also help people who are what I call victims of the registry. There's a lot of people on the registry that did bad things. Now, there are some pretty darn bad people on the registry. There's definitely a few. And there are some that do, they do reoffend. Some of them reoffend because, they are bad people. But there's other ones. And when I say reoffend, I'm not even talking just sexual. I'm talking about it could be, some other crime. Some of them are homeless because they don't have the ability to live a life because they can't get housing, they can't get decent jobs, and so they're out there on the streets and they're struggling to get a life. And they're actually decent people who screwed up, and so they break into a liquor store, they break into some other store to just grab some food that they can eat, and all of a sudden they're a burglar, a robber, and boom, they're right back behind bars again. It's people say the registry. Officially, the registry, the sex offender registry, is considered administrative, not punitive. It's considered administrative. It's not considered punishment. Fortunately, now you obviously know why I'm taking this stance. In recent court cases in Michigan, Pennsylvania, and other states, there are now challenges to that. When somebody breaks the law and when somebody hurts somebody else, they have to pay the price. They have to do the time. They have to accept their punishment. But that punishment shouldn't have to be an entire lifetime, and there should be an opportunity for those people who are willing, and the vast majority of them are, to get back on their feet and to have a second chance. And when that happens, when you have support, when you have people who are there emotionally supporting you, and you have a decent job, and you also have, a decent place to live, you're going to have a safe life. You're going to have a good life, and you're going to be productive. I take it the one step forward. It's been said over and over again that I'm trying to lighten the sex offender laws. No, I am not trying to lighten them, but I am trying to bring them in line with the Constitution. Okay, because a number of these laws are unconstitutional. I'm going to tell you right now, the first person who reoffends, if they don't want to deal with me, they don't want to be anywhere around me, because they're going to make me look bad. Okay, I know that sounds, oh goodness, egotistical, arrogant, but you know what? Screw them. But to the person who's trying to get back on the right track and trying, to do something, for themselves, I'm going to be there for them. And if there's something that I can do to help change a law, to help, so that someone actually can get that job, so that somebody can have that house, so that somebody can have that apartment, I'm going to do it. So that somebody can hang out in more places where they're not risking anything. They're not being a danger to anybody. I'm going to do that for them. There's a question that keeps coming up again and again. I am not going to discuss what I do for a living or who I work with or anything about that right now, because this is public, and because if anybody finds out who or what I'm doing, they're going to come after them, and I've got to protect, my loved ones and coworkers, so I cannot answer that question. I do apologize.
No apology necessary. Let me interject. I'll let you bring it home, Marty. But actually, you and I actually discussed this question. Even the wolf pack is a brand, right? The stigma associated with that, just being a wolf pack member. How does it make you feel being called pedophile? That's not nice. How does that make you feel?
It's a word, and it doesn't define me. In fact, it's a general word that's used to describe virtually every sex offender out there, whether they, peed in public or, raped a, baby, the worst case scenario. It doesn't matter. Every one of us is inclusive in that, in that one definition. By definition, am I? No, I am gay. I am a gay man. And I made a big mistake. Now, I'm not going to go into details about, my likes, preferences, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'll do that in private with some people, but they have to be trusted people. Am I out there prowling and trying to look for kids? No, I am not. Do I hang out in West Hollywood? Oh, yes, I do. West Hollywood, Gay Central, Southern California. I don't go there all the time, but you'll find me if you're out there on a regular basis, you'll find me out there, and I'll be talking to a couple of people, and who knows, maybe there's somebody special out there with me. But that's my life and my lifestyle and, my personal information. You can call me whatever you want to. Words don't mean anything to me, because I know who I am, and my family and my friends, my close friends, know who I am. They define me as a human being. They define me as a person. If you want to call me a child molester, you can call me a child molester. You want to call me a pedophile, you can call me a pedophile. Well, guess what? Everybody has potential labels. Hey, Greg, I got a question for you. Okay, if I may jump in here for a second.
Absolutely.
To turn this in another direction. Just out of curiosity, have you ever taken anything from someone that didn't belong to you? Did you ever take something that just didn't belong to you?
Yeah. Yes, I did.
You're a thief. You're a robber. You're a crook. You are the worst in the whole friggin' world. You are a goddamn thief. What the hell is wrong with you?
Good point.
People can call me pedophile all they want to, but as much as I know that Greg is not a thief, I am not a pedophile. If people want to use that word, it makes them feel better, and they want to throw it at me, okay, fine. Go ahead. Be my guest. I may counter it. I may block you. Whatever I'm in the mood for at the time, that's what I'm going to do. But the bottom line is, if you think you're hurting me, if you think you're shaming me, it doesn't work, because I know who I am. I believe in who I am, and I know what I'm not.
Well said.
Thank you.
Yeah, very well said. Yeah.
I like what
Wow.
Joe Mills says there. about look at what they've been doing to Jezebel Sweet, victim shaming, just horrible.
That's
They've been
beyond
calling,
horrible.
they've been calling her a Satanist, and I think I saw some kind of they called her something. I don't remember if it was tramp or what they called her in another tweet I saw, and I thought, Jesus.
Well, again, the gay shaming, her and Fiona, the lesbian couple keeps on being, because, and by the way, and this is, as you all know, this is an issue, and I'm going to try and get Fiona on the show to talk about that. She is a Christian, she's a Catholic, and she has lived a gay lifestyle. And I believe she'd be willing to talk about how she reconciles that lifestyle and her personal faith and belief. I think that'll make a good episode. But
I think that would make a wonderful episode. Yes, I do pay attention to all the stories out there regarding Corey Feldman, and I'm certainly aware of whenever somebody mentions my name, because I have to pay attention to that because it affects not only me, but it affects my loved ones. I mean, for my family to see and hear things online being, things being said and hurt, told about me. I mean, when I was first arrested, my father went to the post office to pick up my mail for me, and someone who was there, some asshole, they recognized my name and threatened my dad's life. The guy's in his 80s at the time.
God.
Wow.
What the hell is wrong with that person?
Oh, man.
If that person wanted to say it to me, be my guest. Don't you dare come after my father like that. Wow. If I knew who that person was today, you would have to hold me back. And I'm not a violent person.
Yeah.
It's just like if Corey Haim were alive today after everything that Feldman has done to his mom, what do you think Corey Haim would do?
Oh, yeah.
You're talking about the Angels who I, like I said, I feel it in my heart. I believe them. I know they've been victimized. To be victim shamed like that is beyond it's horrific. It's horrendous because you're re-victimizing a victim.
Yeah.
And let's just say for the heck of it that they weren't. Let's say let's say that there's somebody else out there. Let's not put the the Angels in this. Let's say it's just some nobody you don't know who's just said that they were sexually assaulted, and let's say they themselves really weren't. That's not a good thing to do. But you know what? For the whole world to come down on them and start giving them hell in response, no. Find out why they did it. Find out what they need. Find out what the problem is and fix it. Don't kill them. But you know what? If there's somebody who really is a victim and they're getting that, no, I don't stand for that. And Feldman and his stupid little Feld fam pulling that bullshit. Well, you know what? I hope to God that they themselves have never been victimized in the same way, because it would be so horrific for them to have to deal with that coming right back at them, just like they're pulling it on these ladies. I'm sorry, I don't stand for that.
Yeah.
Any final words of wisdom? You've been amazing, Marty. Thank you, Dishy. I got to wrap it up. You're always invited back. Any final words that you want to tie up the loose ends here, Marty or Dishy?
Well, Dishy, got any last questions for me?
No. I think, everything, it just went great. I don't think it could have been any better.
I know it was the Marty show tonight, wasn't it?
Thank you so much, Greg.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everybody for being so respectful of Marty.
Yeah, gay Greg.
That's going to be the next show, is coming out party.
Yeah, exactly.
The next show, the next show, Greg and I are getting married. Get ready. No,
that's right. I got to tell my wife first.
Hey, big of me. Okay, fine. It's big of you too.
No more polyamorous relationships. Okay, I've had enough of hearing about those.
I know.
All right,
I know.
Look,
go ahead, Marty.
A final thought. Guys, it doesn't matter to me how many people in this world hate me and how many people I'll just say how many people in this world hate me. I know I'm going to have haters for the rest of my life. I'm used to it. But the few people that I can call friends and loved ones are the most amazing people in the world. And they're the ones that I really care about. And I do care about the victims, and I care about the people who are on the registry, and I want to help. I've screwed up. I did bad things in my life. We all do. Mine, obviously worse. And I've taken accountability for it. I've apologized to Evan. And like I said, we have a healing that's moving forward. And I'm really hoping that one day, I can see him and that we can just say hi, shake hands, maybe, give each other a hug and take this forward into the future and help each other out. And who knows, maybe together help out, both victims and those people who are on the registry also, because I think that would be absolutely amazing for, two people in our unique positions to do something like that. I mean, it's his call, it's his decision. I would love to. I will not hold anybody responsible for having negative emotions towards me, especially if they themselves have been victimized. I totally understand because I've been on that side too. And, I'm dealing with that all the time. There's a couple other times I was victimized that I didn't get into. Ask me on the next show because, and that's, like I said, it's not going to be immediate, but I will definitely get into all of that. Please, people, if you want to ask me questions, if you do have concerns, go ahead and DM me. You know where to find me. I'm going to be as open a book as I possibly can now. But again, please, don't try to push me towards a past that I'm trying to keep in the past and move forward and progress into the future, as I know you guys want me to. You guys want this society to be safe. The key is no more victims of anybody. And I have methods that are very highly controversial that I know would work. And that information will be coming forth because there will, I have ways of making it happen, and I'm going to.
Very cool.
All right. This is Greg of The Greg Who Show, and this has definitely been very real. Thank you, Marty. Thank you, Dishy. God bless everyone.
Thank you,
I have
Greg.
an extra. Stick around for the extra. God bless. Good night, and may God bless.
Bye,
Thank you.
guys.
Take it easy.
I
Yes.
believe it's called
Like I s-
self-titled. Oops.
Yeah, let's get it the right way up. Lyrics Records first release, Paul Rivard. Excellent CD. Excellent CD.
Okay, so we're going to bring out Paul Rivard right now, and he's going to do a song for us. Is that correct? Please give a warm welcome to Paul Rivard.
This song's called He Is Real. You say it doesn't matter in the words that you speak. You say it's in your heart and what you believe. Your eyes are the windows to your very own soul. Look and find the peace inside, or if your blood does run cold, I'll tell you that it's time to pick up those pieces, get down on your knees. I'll tell you that it's time to shine like a candle, so all of mankind can see that He is real. Yes, He is real. Yes, He is real. The world tries to tell you where you should go, and what you should wear, and who you should know. Your friends seem to guide you down the loneliest roads, but Jesus is the only true friend that you'll ever know. I'll tell you that it's time to pick up those pieces, get down on your knees. I'll tell you that it's time to shine like a candle, so all of mankind can see that He is real. Lord, you are real. Lord, you are real. Lord, He is real to me.
Commercials.
All right. 13's still on there. All right, guys. Sorry, Jenna. Send me a message in Facebook. We'll chat, but you can be a co-host anytime you want. I don't know what happened there. But good night. God bless. Keep spreading the love. That was awesome. We really are together cultivating and developing a community that can have civil conversations. God bless. God bless all of you. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.